From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Monday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. Talk a good bit of baseball, football, and basketball. Ole Miss sweeping the Florida Gators over the weekend at Swayze Field, moving to 8-4 in the SEC. Spring football has concluded with the annual Grove Bowl on Saturday as well. Coverage of all that at rebelgrove.com. And the college basketball season ends tonight with Virginia and Texas Tech in the finals. So we'll cover a little bit of everything today on the show, brought to you every single day again by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Stop into the Blue Sky location, take your stadium cup in from Swayze Field, refill it for 49 cents, 49-cent bottomless refills there with Blue Sky and the Oxford Exxon. And remember, Critical is the presenting sponsor of the FCA breakfast coming up on April 27th. That's the Saturday morning of Double Decker. The Kessinger family is the special guest this year for that. You can get tickets and find out more information at OleMissFCA.com. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call the number, ask for Corey Clark, and get a quote on that Ford that you've been thinking about. Even if you haven't made up your mind that you want to go with a Ford, you're not positive that you're in the market for a vehicle, if you think you might be in the market, if you think you might soon be in the market for a vehicle and you just want to shop around, give Corey a call, get a quote. At the very least, you're going to get a baseline moving forward. And what's probably going to happen is it's going to pique your interest in a Ford product because Corey's going to get you right to the bottom line. No haggle, no hassle. And then he wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll prove it to you. People say, what does that mean? Give him a call. You'll start to find out. 662-257-1900 at the end of your deal. Tell Corey that you heard about Clark Ford on the Greatest Pod in the South or the Oxford Exxon Podcast or the Beer Garden or the Soft Verbal Podcast, any of them, and you'll save $500 from Clark Ford.
So we'll jump right in. We'll start with baseball this morning. The Rebels had a little bit of a crazy week. They lose to North Alabama on Tuesday. RPI number 285, not 8, 285 there for the Lions, moving up to D1 in their first year in the Atlantic Sun Conference. And RPI got down to 41 there at one point. It started at 30 on the week. Well, it ends the week at 24 as they sweep Florida over the weekend, Friday, and then a Saturday doubleheader, coming back from an 8-0 deficit in Game 3. Florida up 8-0 in the top of the fourth. By the bottom of the fifth, Ole Miss had the lead there in just 1.5 innings. The Rebels score 40 runs on the weekend. That's the most in a series in general for the Rebels since Minnesota in 2008 when they scored 45 runs, and it's the most in SEC play since also scoring 40 against Vanderbilt in 1957. I wasted 10 minutes of my life looking that up through the media guide on Saturday, but hey, we found it. And Neal, I almost stopped because I was talking to Teddy Cahill from Baseball America. He was in town over the weekend, and we were discussing, hey, when did they move to wood bats? Because you can sort of stop there at some point. We thought, okay, there'll be a gorilla ball weekend where Ole Miss scored 60 runs against somebody because everybody was using drop 5 bats. But not the case. There was nothing in that entire era. Got to wood bats and stopped, and then just kind of kept scrolling. I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything else. The game's kind of dragging here a little bit. And sure enough, in 1957, they went to Nashville, scored 15, 15, and 10 for 40 runs in a weekend. So there was that. But I tell you, I wrote about it this morning, notebook on rebelgrove.com. We look at Parker Carace's numbers. He's been excellent in SEC play. And then lead off with just kind of the mentality they had on Saturday because they'd already swept the series. They beat Florida up pretty bad, 12-4, 16-4 the first 2 games. The Gators really scuffling with a very young team right now. And you get behind 8-0 in the finale. It's raining. There's a lightning delay, and you've already won the series. There's a baseball mentality of, hey, we've won the weekend. We can sort of gear down here. And credit to them, they got an opening because Florida couldn't throw strikes. And they completely busted the door down, ended up gaining a sweep. It felt like that was such a swing game because they've now won 5 in a row in the league. They've got back to 8-4. That ties Arkansas and LSU at the top of the SEC West. That's very, very crowded as 6 schools are separated by basically a game. And 7-5 and 8-4, it's just one game, but that is one hell of a difference in the standings.
Sure, it goes like I wrote in 10 Thoughts. You go into this weekend and, do the math. If you get 2 of 3 against Kentucky, that's 10-5 at the midway point. If you double that up, you're 20-10, and I guarantee you the loss to North Alabama won't factor in at all. 0. They're in good shape. I've seen where you said Kentucky throws a lot of left-handers, and
and they've got Zach Thompson on Saturday, who's a dude, like a top guy.
They need to get 2. I've seen people say sweep Kentucky. Well, sweeps are rare in the SEC, but get 2, and you're in great shape going into the second half of the season for all the angst and stuff. And I'm not making fun of the angst. I get it, but the SEC record's frankly the only one that really is going to matter because it's what's going to impact the RPI as much as anything. And
conference standing, which also matters.
Yeah. But they're in solid shape. No one's probably going to run away with the league because the league is so good, especially the West teams have to play each other all the time. And Georgia's 9-3 right now, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So these things, baseball and basketball seasons usually seem to sort of work themselves out because there's so many games. And so, they're in solid shape. They've got 3 with Kentucky. Then who do they play the week after that? At Auburn?
They go to Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn's good. And then they get LSU at home, I think.
A&M at home.
A&M at home. A&M's really good.
And they go to LSU.
Go to LSU, and they're really good.
Come home, play Mississippi State.
And they're really good. So, again, it always works its way out.
What they have an opportunity to do is take advantage of Kentucky, win the series, which would then allow them to kind of tread water the rest of the way, if you just want to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to just roll through the whole 30-game schedule. So, hey, fine. And that's where, even now, and look, Ole Miss has rebounded. Anyone would have taken 8-4 at this point. They did it a really weird way, going 3-3 against Alabama, Missouri, and then going 5-1 against Arkansas and Florida. It's the way SEC baseball works. But I do think if you're Ole Miss, you're still kicking yourself a little bit because, frankly, the way they've played the last 2 weeks, they should have a national seed type resume, and they don't because of those squandered opportunities.
Yeah,
that's the problem right now because, again, you're not grading Ole Miss on a curve.
No, they have to get into the national seed conversation, and this is really premature right now.
I think it's at least 19.
Yeah, I was going to say it's at least 19 and 11, and it might be 20 and 10.
That's just probably reality right now for them.
And that's, so they're at 8-4. If you win 2 this weekend, you get to 10-5, and then at that point, you might have to double that. And that's really, really hard.
You get a little bit of a gift. You close the season at Tennessee, so that's one of your road series, and it's probably a Volunteers team that will really be scuffling by that point in the year.
Yeah, and frankly, it's a series. I'll say it. If you're going to be a national seed, that's probably a series you're going to have to sweep. And so if you do the math on that, that puts you at 13-5 with 12 more games to play against really good teams. And in those 12 games, you probably have to go 7-5 against Mississippi State, LSU, A&M, and Auburn. You probably have to win 7 of those 12 games, if assuming that you get 2 out of 3 against Kentucky and you sweep Tennessee. That's what if you're going to have a national seed conversation to say what do they have to do to safely be a national seed, that.
And really the goal right now is just make sure in the top 16. Just host.
Yeah, and
let the rest take care of itself.
And if you take 2 out of 3 from Kentucky and you sweep Tennessee, and even if you tread water in the other 12 games, you'll be a host. But and then there's some midweek games in there that Mississippi State, Southern Miss, some of that stuff that they probably don't need to go over in that. I hear people say, well, they don't need to lose again. Well, they're probably going to lose another midweek game somewhere because they've lost enough that there's a reason they've lost those games. we'll see. They've played well in the league, especially the last couple of weeks, and if they keep it up, it'll all work out.
Yeah, just had one of those weekends offensively. I mean, I've got the numbers here. Ole Miss hit 415 as a team over the 3 games against Florida. That'll get a lot done. 415 as a team. Olenek leading that with 636 for the weekend, and it's a Florida team that looks up. They're 4-8 in the league. That's never been the case under Kevin O'Sullivan, and it shows you sometimes when you've got a bunch of young kids, a bunch of freshmen, some sophomores in other roles, and then you got 1 or 2 pitchers that just kind of don't work out the way you thought. I mean, Dyson, who's went into the year being a first-round pick, just got obliterated by Ole Miss on Saturday morning. Anybody can fall under in this league. Anybody can have that year where it just all falls apart. And I think Florida will be saved a little bit because they play in the SEC East. I'll tell you, if they played in the West, they'd be staring 10-20 in the face.
See, this is why, and I don't want to get into this conversation a whole lot today because it's just not worth it, and everybody misinterprets what you're saying. It's why I get labeled a Bianco defender, and I'm not really defending. Like, I don't fire him this morning or give him a 20-year extension. I don't care. But the reality is the kind of season that Florida is on the precipice of having, he never has that season. Now, he struggles in June. There's no question.
They say he never has the season Florida has usually either, so it's the problem.
And I realize that's the problem. I do. And again, I don't, for the record, I'll say it twice on one show, I don't have an agenda, and I don't care at all what they decide to do. But that's the thing when people look at Bianco and you say, well, he doesn't ever get that. He doesn't. They have inexplicable losses at times in June, but they never have that bitterly disappointing season that falls apart by the middle of April. I mean, in 19 years, he's had, what, 1 or 2 of them?
He's gone 13-17 once, and that's it. Everything else has been 14 or more. He's
always right there in the league, and Florida shouldn't be 4-8. There's nothing in their program analytics to support that. It's, they needed to come to Oxford and win a game, and they didn't. And, you're right, the East will probably bail them out. If they were in the West, they'd be in deep you-know-what is what they'd be. But, that's the thing. I mean, Mike's teams are consistent. And that consistency drives people crazy, but that consistency also keeps you in the race late in the year. It's what makes it makes baseball an event later in the year. It's gonna be the reason that they'll have massive crowds at Swayze in 3 weeks when A&M comes to town. So I don't when people act like it's a cut and dried deal, it's an easy decision, it's an easy opinion to form. I kind of disagree, and that's why.
Well, it's an incredibly hard decision for Ross Bjork. Should Ole Miss not advance in the postseason this year? Let me put that on there. As of right now, they're 8-4, so this conversation's kind of stupid. But point being, if they did struggle in June, here's what I'll say on this as we move on, is that Ross has a has a difficult decision, but he has a very simple decision too. Are the June issues systemic? Is it something that is going on with Mike's program that is enabling the issues in June? Yes or no? And that is the end of the conversation, whatever that answer is.
Agreed.
If you think it's systemic and that even though the regular seasons are phenomenal most of the time and they're great and they're consistent, there is a problem in June, then you make a change. If it's just, in your opinion, dumb luck and in a vacuum, crap happens, then you don't, and you extend and you keep moving forward and expecting the law of averages and the team, the team BABIP, if you will, to even itself out at some point. I don't know. That's where they are. But again, 8-4 in the SEC at the moment. Kentucky in this week, and probably getting some good news on the pitching front. Will Etheridge left Friday's game with another blister on his finger. However, it did not open up. Mike said that it looked okay, was the word he used, that as of right now, he expects him to throw on Friday night, that they had not completely made that decision, but the odds were better that he would throw than he would not. They quickly got medicine on it. They quickly tended to it. They did not let it rupture or open up, or however you want to put it. So probably going to be okay there. Tyler Myers was a lifesaver for Ole Miss. he's just been phenomenal. He pitched the rest of the game on Friday night. Ole Miss put up a lot of runs, and it did not matter. And then on the back,
the other thing you could do with Etheridge is, if there's even any question, you could give it another 48 hours and let him go Sunday.
Just bump everybody a day.
Or whatever you're going to do with Myers, you could give Myers a Friday start. I mean, you have options, is my point.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do on Sunday because they gave it to Houston Roth. I don't know if that was going to be automatic or if that was going to be simply because Myers had to go on Friday. I don't know if Myers was that guy. My assumption is that Gunnar Hoagland is going to throw against Southern Miss tomorrow night. I think that's a good move if that is the case. I think that's really the perfect move for Hoagland because it's an important game. It's a neutral site game. It doesn't get into his psyche too much, but you're still getting to use him, and you're not as freaked out about a quick hook on a Tuesday. If he gets into some trouble, you can let him try to work through it, whereas Mike just hasn't trusted him on the weekends. Every time a couple guys get on or a run scores in the third inning on Sundays, Mike's trying to go to the bullpen and get him out of there. So I think Tuesday might be good for all involved with Hoagland. We'll ask about that later. I don't know that answer right now. But, yeah, they've got to figure Sunday out. Myers is an option. Look, Roth was getting hit. It was clearly time for a change, but all 4 runs were unearned. He gets out of that inning if Tyler Keenan or Chase Cockrell makes a play during that inning the other day. So we'll see. I don't know what's going on there, but they get lucky with Etheridge, and then on the back end, they've got Parker Caracci on a roll right now. He threw the final 3.2 innings for the win against Florida when that game was all offense. He came in and really, really shut it down. In SEC play, he hasn't allowed a run in 7.2 innings. He has 10 strikeouts, 1 walk, and a win and 3 saves. He has an .083 batting average against and a .042 whip so far in SEC play.
Pretty good.
That will get things accomplished.
Yep.
That is correct. That will get things accomplished. And then Doug Nikhazy continuing to stabilize this thing on Saturday. Saturday was a really big day for him. He was pitching against the home state Gators that didn't pay him a lot of attention during his recruitment, and he basically shoved it up their tail. He allowed a run in 6 innings. He struck out 7, I believe. Only walked 1 or 2. He was good again. I mean, frankly, he's been their most consistent pitcher outside of Etheridge all season long for the freshman from Windermere, Florida. So big day for him. And as we kind of go into this break, did you see the way State lost on Saturday?
I did.
What'd you think of that?
Didn't really like it. Thought it was kind of ticky-tack. The Batgirls on the field, the play had clearly stopped.
Here's the reason I didn't think it was ticky-tack. It's not Little League. There is no time in baseball. Literally, the game is continuous. So if you don't ask for time in any manner whatsoever, why are you just assuming you've been given it?
No, I mean, I get it. I just, you asked my opinion.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just talking. But
I probably wouldn't have made that call had I been the umpire.
In the other side piss them because they go, well, there was no time called.
I'm not even sure if they would have noticed it, but I guess they could have been. I mean, look,
it was just such a lapse of judgment that I was almost kind of baffled.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's a lesson for every pitcher out there.
Also, hey, when you want to change baseballs, throw the ball to your catcher.
Right.
Don't throw the ball into the dugout.
And had he thrown it to his catcher, the umpire probably wouldn't have said anything.
Well, he just handed him a ball because nobody's running at that point.
Right.
I mean, okay, fine, whatever. Here we go. I don't know. It was a really strange mentality at that level. I kind of saw it and I went, what was he thinking?
He probably didn't know the rule.
I guess that's true.
The answer to what was he thinking is he probably wasn't thinking.
Yeah. And then on the Ole Miss front, I have not been given definitive answer here, but I'm almost certain that Cooper Johnson will have to sit out tomorrow night's game against Southern Miss after getting ejected in the 4th inning for arguing balls and strikes with the umpire on Saturday in the nightcap. Credit to freshman Knox LaPosser, by the way. He comes in, gets a big double in the 5th in replace of Johnson that brought Ole Miss within 8-7 at the time. But Johnson was running a little hot. He drew a line in the sand or in the dirt where he believed the ball crossed, and it was an immediate ejection for him. Credit a little bit to Mike Clement here because they get pretty easy or pretty quick on players getting multi-game suspensions if they linger around and continue to argue with the umpire after the play. and Clement kind of got Cooper out of there before he could get hit with any longer of an injection. So he was kind of the MVP of that play because I don't think Cooper was ready to walk off the field just yet.
Tell you what, that kid has made a bunch of money in the last 2 months of his life.
Yeah, there's just really not much wrong with his game right now.
He's kind of answered everything.
Yeah, he's hitting enough. Frankly, he's been a little bit of a plus hitter to this point. And I mean, his arm is elite as elite gets. He's receiving well. Yeah, I mean, he's and frankly, I don't think, look, as long as you're a good teammate, and look, he's gotten to be a better teammate because let's be honest, he was not a good teammate throughout his career. He had kind of a rough first summer in the Cape, was just kind of down on himself, but he's really matured. He's been a guy that's picked it up, answered a lot of those attitude questions with scouts that I think they had major questions about at some different points of his college career. And I'm not sure that fire was a bad thing the other day. I mean, if nothing else, he's kind of the guy that is taking on some leadership roles with this team to get them out of that little funk they were in for a couple weeks. And I think the players respond to it. So, Mike was probably pissed at him, but he probably wasn't completely pissed at him. He probably likes a little bit of what he's getting out of him right now. Oh,
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. Like you said, he's having a plus offensive season, and defensively, he's an amazing player.
Yeah. If anything, underrated right now because he's not getting a lot of national appeal, and it's a little strange to me. He hasn't kind of gotten that from everybody yet. But nonetheless, that doesn't matter.
You know what that is. That's the national guys make up their minds before the season starts.
Yeah. Take a break in the show to tell you the podcast brought to you in part by Blow Dry Bar Oxford, 662-638-3310, 10 to 6 Tuesday to Friday, 10 to 3 on Saturday. If you're in town this weekend, stop by, get a gift certificate. A lot of holidays coming up. Mention rebelgrove.com. They will give you a discount on that. Or if you're a guy needing a haircut, you can now take advantage of that as well. They'll even knock some price off for you there when you mention rebelgrove.com. I'm doing that later in the week. Finally scheduled, finally set up, so I'll be able to give you a first-hand account of it as the days move on. But again, 662-638-3310, voted Best New Business in Oxford for 2018. That's Blow Dry Bar Oxford on Jackson Avenue.
Guests will join us on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. So if you think you have a legal issue, if you think you might have a legal issue upcoming, and you just want to talk to an attorney, take advantage of the fact that you listen to this podcast and get in touch with John Calvin Patterson or Wes Earhart. They're going to get back with you within the same day, guaranteed. Your first consultation's free. They'll tell you whether you have a case, whether you might have a case, what you should do about that case. They're Ole Miss guys. They're local guys. They're really nice people. They want to help you. And so get in touch with them. It's PElaws.com or 662-526-1992. Warm weather's on the horizon, and with it comes the inevitable debate of sock or no sock with your loafers. I just got some. Chase just got some. We'll be able to report back to you and tell you what we think here very soon. So save your feet and your shoes from making their own impression. Step into spring with some no-shows from Dead Soxy. You really need to experience the difference a quality sock makes. Go to deadsoxy.com, enter the code RebelGrove at checkout. You'll receive 30% off all orders, including sale items. The no-shows are the same quality that you already love and enjoy with their traditional dress socks, and they come with a no-slip guarantee. So go to deadsoxy.com, check out the no-show collection. Remember to enter promo code RebelGrove at checkout for 30% off all orders. Podcast brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust, based in Madison, Mississippi, represents clients in more than 20 states. Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan. Cookie-cutter financial planners put you in a box. PinTrust builds a box just for you. It's pintrust.com. That's PINN trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee. And we're brought to you by the Westin Jackson. You can restore serenity to your soul by visiting Soul Spa right there inside the Westin Jackson. It's the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. They also have Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro. Sip on a creative craft cocktail. Enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. And don't forget, at the Westin Jackson, you can accumulate or redeem your Marriott Rewards points.
Podcast also brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. Community Local Underwriting understands your market. They're a leader in condo financing in Oxford, and you know by now you get the float down option. It's house buying season. It allows you to lock in the current rate, but if rates go down before you close, you just get the lower rate. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. So spring football finishes up on Saturday. The major thing, absolutely the biggest thing, is it looks like they got through the period with no major injuries now.
Yeah, I think so. They held out some people on Saturday, like Scotty Phillips, for example, just because, frankly, why risk it? Look, it was really the scrimmage itself was really vanilla, just like we kind of thought it would be, like they said it would be. They said afterwards it was vanilla, that they're not going to show anything. There was some moving pocket that, there was no reason to hide that. Anybody who's ever watched the Rich Rodriguez offense knows that they move the pocket a lot. I think that suits Corral pretty well. But the pass game was super simple, and the running game was really simple too. They're not going to show stuff they've worked on national television. They're just not going to. So, it sounds, and I wrote this Saturday, I think. I can't remember. Saturday was a pretty hectic day. This sounds like I'm being overly critical of the previous defensive staff. So if it comes across that way, it just does. I don't mean it to. They looked more organized on defense. They didn't do a lot of fancy stuff. They're not showing their blitz package. They're not showing any complex coverages. It's a spring game. It's on TV. Memphis taped it, I promise you. So you're not going to give them anything. So there's not a whole lot of strategic stuff to take away from what we saw, but they just looked more organized. Guys were lined up before the snap. Guys were ready to with their assignment. They didn't look as frenetic and as confused as they often looked over the last couple of seasons.
Well, that's job one. I mean, in all seriousness, not making a joke.
No, it is. It absolutely.
I mean, if they can't get lined up and they can't communicate, then the rest is pretty meaningless.
There's no question about it. I think they're going to look. I have all these people say, "What do you think?" I don't know. I'm not a football expert. I'm not going to pretend to be one. I think they're going to be better overall on defense. How much better? I don't know. Better. I think they're going to be a little better up front than maybe we thought they'd be. I like the 3-4 alignment. I think it makes more sense. Now they've got to get a little more depth at linebacker. They've got to have a couple of guys come in who can help, like immediately. Probably the same in the secondary. They probably have to have some help that shows up immediately, ready to play. Because they're pretty reliant on these JUCO transfers. Offensively, I'll be honest. I kind of have some concerns. I agree with Rich Rodriguez where he says this is an absolutely critical offseason. On the offensive side of the ball, there is absolutely no doubt that it is more critical than almost any offseason that I can recall covering this program. Because they've got to get – they could not afford injuries up front in the spring. And best I can tell, they didn't get them. And now they've got to get these guys stronger. Look, the field shrinks. So much of the red zone stuff, yes, it's schematic, Longo system, blah, 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 I get it. But when the field gets smaller, not to pick on Longo here, but of course there's less space because there's less space to work with. And so you've got to be able to get physical. And I think Rodriguez wants to be more physical. I think Luke wants to be more physical. To do that, they've got to get stronger. They've got to get bigger. And I asked Rodriguez, because he was talking about young guys coming in having to play, and I said, does that include offensive linemen? And he, as he's apt to do, gave the media who asked a very honest answer, which was, yeah, we signed about 7 offensive linemen, and at least 2 of them are going to have to come in and play. And so it's not an admission at all. It's an acknowledgement that there's no depth up front. There's just no depth up front. If you don't think that's a concern, you're not following SEC football. It is absolutely a concern. They've got to get more explosive running back type players. They really need the Ely thing to work out for them. I did think Snoop Connor did some nice stuff at running back. He might give them some depth. They didn't play Phillips the other day. He's capable of being a 1,000-yard rusher. Elijah Moore looks terrific. Dontario Drummond looks really good. They're going to have to develop some more weapons at receiver. I did think Tyler Knight in the slot makes a lot more sense than he ever made as a DB or he ever was going to make ever as a running back. He does have a lot of speed. He has a lot of athleticism, and he can change gears and stuff. He gives them a weapon in the slot that he's not going to be, and I'm not picking on the kid, but he's small. 5'6", 155-pound guys don't make good SEC running backs. But you can use them in the slot and get something out of them, and they did. Rodriguez is going to use every weapon that is put in the holster, but they're going to have to develop some weapons, and he admitted that. He said as much. They want to use 3 running backs, and so they're going to have to develop some depth offensively for this team. Being healthy is going to be as vital as ever. They're just really thin. I thought the quote that he gave, and I referenced this in 10 Thoughts, and I'm just rambling. I'm sorry. The quote that he gave was, "Yeah, we're really young and we're not very deep." It wasn't a but; it was an and. Young and thin on offense. It's not usually a great combination.
Yeah. They've got to get better physically, but then it's also going to have to be a very good schematic season on both sides.
Yes. They're going to have to
They're going to have to scheme some inefficiencies, but there's a lot of inefficiencies you can't scheme. You just got to fix in the weight room and when recruiting more aptly.
Fans get mad at this, and I know this will create a nasty thread. And this isn't defending a coach. Again, that's not my job. So I don't do it. It's not my job to evaluate a coach and say whether a coach should be retained or fired. That's on the athletics administration people. But if these guys go 7-5, he deserves SEC Coach of the Year votes.
Hard to argue.
I mean, to me, that's a declarative statement. It's not even an opinion. I mean, they go into a season coming up where there are literally 2 games, and only 2 games, that on the schedule you go, that's a win.
Yeah, the 2 gimmies. CeeLi and New Mexico State.
That's it. Those are the 2 that you go, that's a win. And meanwhile, I mean, I think if we're being honest, there's more than 2 that you look at and you go, that's a loss. That's a loss. And then there's a handful of games that are tosses. And there's a handful of games that are likely losses. I mean, even if you go into games that you go, what's a likely win? There aren't many. That doesn't mean you can't win, but it's not a likely win.
It's all coming down to those 4 that you can categorize as coin flips or a little bit of pushes either direction. And it's Memphis, Cal, Arkansas, and Vanderbilt. That's what it's coming down to.
Agreed.
And then maybe another day you play really well and another team doesn't play well and you win a game.
Yeah. But if we're being honest and objective, the other games, Alabama, I mean, look, Alabama's a loss, but Alabama's a loss for everybody, so big damn deal. But Auburn, LSU, Texas A&M, certainly, those 3 games, those are likely losses on paper. You have to play really well to win those games, exceptionally well, and probably catch a break. And I don't know what I think about Mississippi State. I've heard different things. In fact, I talked to a national person on Friday who said, hey, they might end up being the most disappointing team in the league next season. And if that happens, then the game in Starkville that on paper in November looked like an L suddenly becomes a toss-up.
And then I think they're better, but Missouri's not world beaters.
Not world beaters, but they're
losing a top 10 draft pick quarterback. So let's see what they look like.
Right. At the very least, that's a difficult game to win. Not certainly possible, but difficult. You'll have to play exceptionally well there to win.
I just pulled up the latest mock draft from The Athletic a second ago that just came out. Drew Lock, number 10 overall to the Broncos.
You know what I think of him? I mean, all jokes aside, I think he's a terrific quarterback. I love everything about his game.
This is a 7-round mock draft, so I will go through this a little bit right now. 7 rounds. DK Metcalf, 15 to the Redskins in this mock draft. Says that he has number 1 receiver type potential, regardless if it's Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, or Josh Rosen throwing him the football. Let's see. What else do we have as I kind of scroll? Those 2 Iowa tight ends are impressing everybody. Top 20 picks-ish.
It's a deep tight end draft.
A.J. Brown, 26 overall to the Indianapolis Colts in this draft.
Probably make Andrew Luck happy.
Think so? Let's see. Says he's a natural route runner with strong hands, working outside or in the slot is what it says for him.
Where do they have Greg Little? Have you found it yet?
Yeah, I'm still going down. Jeffrey Simmons, 32 to the Patriots.
That fits.
Dexter Lawrence down to 31 to the Rams. Just a little thought there.
I can see that.
Greedy Williams, 33 to the Cardinals. Jonathan Abram from State, 34 to the Colts. Greg Little, 37 to the New York Giants.
So they finally get their Ole Miss offensive tackle.
Finally get their Ole Miss offensive tackle. Let me just look for Lodge and some of those guys. 200 for Lodge to the L.A. Chargers. I'll tell you, 200 overall is a steal for DeMarcus Lodge.
Absolutely.
A steal.
Yep, I agree completely.
You could convince me he's one of the best ones.
Did you have you found Dawson Knox yet?
I've got Knox here. Let me try to see what I can find here, what this means, because I'm a little confused. Hold on. Oh, wow. Got Dawson Knox, 75 to the Packers.
Yeah, like I told somebody, I think he's made a good decision. Had that conversation Saturday. Where
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The 12th guy drafted in the 3rd round.
I mean, he probably wasn't going to jack his stock up a whole lot higher than that.
Oh, no, I don't think so either.
I mean, you get started with your career.
Anybody else you want me to Apple F?
I'm curious because of what he ran. What about Zedrick Woods?
Not on here.
Okay.
Yeah, if you told me somebody spent a late round pick on him, I wouldn't be stunned because of what he ran and just the fact that he played 4 very solid seasons of football in the SEC. There's worse things you can do from a 6th or 7th round pick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no question. And frankly, by the time you get to the 6th or 7th round, you're hoping not to get drafted.
Because you're better off picking a destination at that point.
At that point, you can pick a team that maybe they have a little deficiency in special teams or something like that, and put on your hard hat and go see if you can't make the end of a squad.
5 of the top 8 picks, all SEC players, however, not number 1 or number 2, obviously.
I'm assuming they have Kyler Murray going number 1.
They do. They have Kyler Murray going 1, Nick Bosa going 2, and then I'll give you a couple guesses here. Who's the first SEC player off the board?
Quinnen Williams.
He's number 4 to the Oakland Raiders.
So he's the second SEC person off the board.
That is correct. This is why I made you do this.
Yeah. I don't.
Devin White's number 5 to the Buccaneers.
Okay.
Number 3, New York Jets edge rusher Josh Allen from Kentucky.
Good for him.
First SEC player off the board per The Athletic, Josh Allen.
He's a hell of a football player.
Oh, hard to argue with that one. I mean, So, said he fits Greg Williams' scheme very well, has some versatility, and is a good fit for the New York Jets.
Who's the running back from Kentucky that we liked so much last year, whose name's escaping me right now?
What was his name? Benny Snell.
Oh, yeah. Benny Snell. Where's he going?
Undrafted.
Really?
Yeah. Wonder if there's a little. I mean, all jokes aside, with my love affairs, I wonder if it's a little bit of the Vanderbilt thing where he's just beat up so bad over the course of a career
that there's just no wear left on the tires.
Yeah, I do wonder that a little bit.
Could be.
I mean, when he's the offense for your team, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Because that happens to every Vanderbilt running back. Zach Stacy, Raph Williams, Raph Webb. Sorry. I mean,
so is Locke the second quarterback off, or is he going? Is Haskins going third?
Let's see. Haskins is right behind Locke at 11.
Okay.
9, Rashawn Gary, Michigan. 8, Montez Sweat. 7, Jawan Taylor, Florida. 6, Ed Oliver, Houston. 5, Devin White. 4, Kenyon Williams. Josh Allen, Nick Bosa, Kyler Murray.
Montez Sweat made some money on that 40-yard dash.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
At the end of that, they should have just done they should have just dropped cash from the top of the building.
It cracks me up in the NFL being whatever it is and all this stuff that, hey, this defensive lineman, the one we're worried about is the 40 yards that he's never actually going to do in a game. Let's make that priority 1 when choosing him later. Because you never hear, oh my God, his cone drill, he made so much money. Well, that's the thing he's actually going to be doing every single play.
Yeah. No, I mean, and kudos to Montez Sweat, man. I mean, hey, rock on, bud. I'm glad you're getting yours. But he did the smart thing. As soon as that Egg Bowl was over, he said, let's get ready for the 40.
Just the 40.
Got ready for the 40, aced it, and the payoff is coming. Good for him.
Yeah. I can't wait for Jeffrey Simmons, the New England Patriot. I would almost put money on it.
Oh, it fits their whole personality.
It does.
They get it. They get a guy that if he didn't have that absolutely egregious video of him kicking the hell out of a woman on the ground, he would go top 15 minimum. And they get him at 32, and they'll get to underpay him, and they'll call him in and go, you know that this is your one chance, right? And they'll get he's a hell of a football player.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by MasterCuts Lawn and Landscape. By now, you know that MasterCuts provides premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but you know they offer a lot more. MasterCuts will build your custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, handle lights, and all outdoor living spaces with paver patios and forestry mulching, though that starts at just $100 per hour. The path to a dream backyard may be easier than you think. Visit them online at gomastercuts.com for a free quote, or give them a call at 662-607-7773. That's gomastercuts.com.
Podcast also brought to you in part by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about that summer trip, maybe you're already starting to think about holiday trips, whatever the case may be, get in touch with John. It's well worth it. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. What you do is you give him a call and or send him an email. Tell him what you're thinking about doing. Give him some parameters. Give him a budget. And he'll give you options that you're not going to find on your own. So you give him the parameters. You give him a budget. Then he goes to work. And you don't have to sit around and Google all the stuff. You just let him come up with options, and then you take it from there. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. It's 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the Oxford Exxon Podcast. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast or at rebelgrove.com, and you'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is the sponsor of my 10 weekend thoughts that are up on the site. It got posted last night around, 6:30-ish, somewhere in there. It's at rebelgrove.com. We'd love for you to subscribe to rebelgrove.com and be part of the community. Harry is part of the Savannah Square community that is being developed just 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square. It's a 9+ acre development conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center, and close to a variety of restaurants and establishments and such. Savannah Square will initially consist of 32 standalone detached structures ranging in size from about 1,100 square feet to about 2,400 square feet. The model homes available for your inspection. It's located at 215 William Street. The homes have wonderful layouts, impeccable finishes. You can inspect them at the model, check out what your options would be. So give Harry a call and look at the model, get more information about this great new development while units are still available. You can view more at savannahsquareoxford.com or give Harry Alexander with RE/MAX Legacy Realty a call or text at 662-801-5621.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy. They're on South Lamar in Oxford. They deliver local to your home or workplace in the Oxford area. Give them a call for transferring medications or just finding out more about what they offer at 662-236-2222. We've been telling you about the CBD oil that they offer in many different options, including sublingual, soft gel capsules, and topical salves. It's something that is pharmaceutical grade. It's available in Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. It is known to help such things as depression, anxiety, pain, insomnia, and more. It's FDA approved. And again, to find out more, just give them a call, 662-236-2222. So, Texas Tech, Virginia tonight in the finals. I've been riding Tech in the bracket I helped with my wife with. I think she actually wins the pool tonight if Tech wins, knocking Virginia out. What was I don't know if where you were or what you were going on. What was sort of your thought process as you watched the last 15, 20 seconds play out of Auburn and Virginia?
Well, I was so I covered the Grove Bowl, and as soon as the media stuff was over, I raced out of Vaught Hemingway and got to the square because Campbell and everybody was having their pictures taken at the Graduate. And I got there just in time and got to see her and all that stuff. And then I got back in the car and got home, and I knew I needed to get the content up as quickly as I could. And so the game was on. Carson had actually come in and turned the game on, and it was on, but I wasn't paying a lot of attention. And I looked up, and Virginia was up 10, I think. And I kind of zoned out for a minute and then looked back, and Auburn had made bucket and bucket and bucket. And I got some content loaded, and I said, well, I'll come back and finish after I see the end of this game. And looked like Auburn had won the game. And they had the 4-point lead with 15, 20 seconds left. And the shot that nobody talks about is Virginia gets the 3 to cut it to 1. If that shot clangs off, man, it's over. Ball game. You win. And but he made it. And then Auburn goes to the line and only makes 1 of 2. And it opens the door. Make your free throws down the clutch. And so I guess I thought on the last thing, look, they missed a double dribble. The referees missed a double dribble. Here's the thing. I think everyone in the damn arena, including both teams, missed the double dribble. We all saw it later. I thought CBS did a fantastic job with Gene Steratore there explaining the calls. I thought it was as solid a broadcast as I've seen in a long time. And I love to make fun of Nance and them, especially with, the tradition, unlike any other and all that stuff. Sometimes I think he can be overly dramatic, but I thought he did a really good job on that one. But so anyway, Auburn had two fouls to burn. I thought they did a great job with the fouls. Got the clock down to 1.5, 1.6, whatever. That's solid. And then very clearly, Bruce Pearl told his players in the huddle where Virginia was going with the ball, who was going to get the ball, how they were going to try to get him the ball, and what spot on the floor they were going to get him the ball, and they still screwed it up defensively. They still screwed up a switch right there. And that's what creates the opening. Everyone talks about the call. Was it a good call? Was it a bad call? Blah, blah, blah. It was a good call. It was bad execution on defense. Twice in 1.6 seconds, they screwed it up defensively. That's where the game got lost. They didn't switch right, and you can't jump into him. That's not the way you close out. It was a foul. It was absolutely a foul. That's what I thought. What about you?
Yeah, I thought it was a foul. I thought it was the right call. I was a little surprised they made the call just because we always go, oh, they don't call that at the end, and hey, they did call it at the end, which is good. If a foul with 1 second left should be the same as a foul with 18 minutes left. I feel that way. I'll always feel that way. I don't care.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if a finger or two touched an arm on a follow-through. I don't want that called. But he got his body, and he got it good. He jumped into him.
And the Virginia kid was clearly, under control because I just it wasn't even really like schadenfreude or anything. I was just curious what Jay was having to deal with. I went over to Auburn's message board as the game was ending, and I saw where they were complaining about Auburn not getting the same call on the little heave-ho at the end. And yeah, look, the Virginia guy put himself in a terrible situation on the miracle 1.6 left, Auburn throwing the ball down the court, because he absolutely got under the kid from Auburn when he threw the ball up. But because he was out of control, you were never going to get that call.
Right.
And credit to Kyle Guy. I mean, you could have easily claimed one of those free throws off, and I kind of thought they would. I was expecting a little bit of ball don't lie deal there. We're going to overtime, and we'll just decide this thing in 5 minutes.
Oh, not me. I said
you thought he was hitting them.
Yeah, Karsten and Laura were in the room, and
I think he was an 81% shooter for the year.
Yeah, because Laura said to me right before the shots, she goes, "Is he going to miss one?" And I said, "Nah, that kid's draining three." I said, "That is he might be the clutchest guy in college basketball."
And all three were very pure.
Yeah, I think he would have made 20 in a row right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I hated it for Auburn. I did, and I thought Auburn handled the loss with an exceptional amount of class. I hated it for Auburn. I get a kick out of all the people making fun of the people that went running to Toomer's Corner. That would have happened at any campus in America.
It was a bizarre scene because it took forever for them to figure out what happened.
Yeah, because they just took off running, which meant that they got disconnected from what was going on, and the word had to travel pretty quick. I listened to the Auburn radio broadcast late. Yeah, that's why I don't like homers. I don't even like homers on the local broadcast. They fanned the flames, Sonny Smith and Rod Bramlett, and I like both people individually, but it was an egregiously horrible broadcast, and they should be embarrassed of it. And I'll say that on the record. It was awful, an awful radio broadcast, and they should be humiliated by how bad it was. And if I'm the Auburn radio network, I'm evaluating just how bad that was. Awful. The referee got the call right. He called it was a foul. He didn't, when you close out, you're taught verticality. Verticality. If you jump into him and you take away his landing spot and there's contact, you're going to get called for the foul. And he did. Had he just gone across and not at him, then...
Yeah, jumped up and kind of just past him. Yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, quite frankly, here's the deal, Chase. You've screwed up the switch. That's the reason that he looks so out of control. It's because he was scrambling to make up for the screw up. In that spot right there, you've already screwed it up. He's got the shot. Now it's just going to be, is he going to make a three or not? And if he makes it, you got beat on a defensive assignment. If he misses it, you win and you got away with it, and you go back into the locker room and you go, no one will ever write about the fact that you and me screwed up that switch.
Yeah.
But instead he compounded it. And I hated it. I mean, I was for Auburn. I was cheering for them. I was hoping they would win. I mean, I really was. I like Bruce Pearl. I think Bruce Pearl's a good dude. I mean, I know about the cheating and stuff, but I think everybody cheats. So that wasn't a big deal to me. All that stuff about Auburn cheats and blah, blah, everybody cheats. And if you're not cheating, you're not getting players, so it doesn't really matter. And they don't. It's not like their roster's full of 5 stars. And so, I was kind of hoping they would pull it off, but I thought the call was right. And again, kudos to CBS for the way that they handled explaining it. That was really good. It was really strong.
If you want to read something that was kind of different, really good, Dana O'Neill for The Athletic, she sat with the Virginia parents during the game on Saturday night. It has kind of a running thing from how they handled different points of the game, handled the end. It was focused around Jerome's dad, but a lot with kind of what Kyle Guy's family was doing during those last few minutes and everything like that. So really good piece there on The Athletic.
Yeah, I'll check that out. She's fantastic.
Yeah, so
she's so good.
Yeah, it's the scene from Section V, Row 4, Seat whatever it is. I think how they headlined it. But it was with the Virginia families. Bennett's wife was kind of, coming to check on them at halftime and different things. She was sitting kind of at the front of it. It was really well done. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm a complete casual observer when it comes for college basketball, but I sort of like Virginia and Texas Tech. So in some ways, I'm kind of happy for one of these teams tonight. Either way.
It was interesting. I had Taylor Zarzer on the Beer Garden on Friday, and I asked Taylor about it. And Taylor, big college basketball guy. At least he used to be a lot. I don't think he is quite as much anymore, but he knows all these people. And he said one of his concerns about Virginia was that he didn't think, for as good of a coach and as good of a program runner as Bennett is, and as good as a human being as Bennett apparently is, and apparently he is everything that we all aspire to be, except he actually does it and we don't. Taylor said, I don't know that he's the guy that I want coaching my team down the stretch. And I thought about that as Virginia blew that 10-point lead.
Because usually 5 minutes left with Virginia having a 10-point lead is just curtains.
Yeah, but he was talking about in these tournament games where everyone's desperate and everything is so, just hectic that he thought Virginia just sometimes didn't have that killer instinct a little bit. And boy, I was thinking as Auburn made the 2 free throws to make it up 4, and then the kid standing at the line's a 61% shooter, and he's mouthing to himself, "For Chuma, for Chuma, for Chuma." I thought, man, these dudes are just playing on. They're like having their Hoosiers month. That's what I really thought. I mean, it's amazing how the karma just ran out, the luck ran out in 15 seconds. They just played with this belief and this sense of purpose that I think that's why when they lost, you kind of felt so bad for them. I mean, I don't have any ties to Auburn. I didn't care. But when they lost, I was like, God, I kind of hate it for those kids. And I think it's because of the way that they played. I mean, most teams down 10 right there, 4 to go or whatnot, they start thinking, well, we had a hell of a run. We went to the Final Four. We had a hell of a run. We'll go home tomorrow and we'll remember this for a long time. They just kept grinding. And all of a sudden, Bryce Brown can't miss. And it was a hell of a game. And the other game really wasn't even all that competitive. Texas Tech's just good. I think Texas Tech wins tonight.
I think Tech probably wins tonight, too, for some reason. Don't know why. But they handled Michigan State. Just handled them. I found it interesting. a lot of national writers moaning and whining about Virginia and Texas Tech and pace of play and this being the finals, kind of complaining about the lack of one-and-dones. Wouldn't that be in their wheelhouse? Why the heel turn from multiple national guys that you would think would be trying to celebrate the Virginia against the Texas Tech world and not be complaining about pace of play right now?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether they're getting their marching orders from some of the big boys, whether they're getting their marching orders from, I don't know. I mean, it's a great question. I was baffled by some of the columns and such that came out over the course of the weekend, but
almost like a college basketball is deteriorating because these teams are in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting their marching orders from somebody.
It's a 1 seed and a 3 seed, and the 3 seed is a Texas Tech team that's 30-6 or something, and went 14-4 in the Big 12.
Yeah,
it's not a slouch.
No, I mean, I don't know the answer. I mean, I know that they clamor for Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas. That's what they want. It's a damn shame, frankly, that it's not Auburn, Texas Tech tonight, which would just be. I actually would stay up and watch that, just because it would be humorous to know how absolutely frustrated all the NCAA people are, because they are, and they're frustrated. And this tournament makes 90% of their budget. I mean, this is their baby. I don't know. I'm surprised that they're that worked up about all the one and dones leaving. You know, to me, it actually makes the basketball more compelling because the teams that. It doesn't make the basketball better, but it makes the basketball more compelling because the teams that are going to make the Final Fours typically are going to be teams like these that have been together a while.
Yeah, they're more cohesive. I mean, look, R.J. Barrett killed Duke's season.
Absolutely. And people go, well, he's not going to be a good NBA player. Oh, he absolutely is going to be a good NBA player. Yes, he is. But he was a freshman guard.
He better learn to throw it around a little bit. Yeah,
he will. The NBA is going to – here's a dirty little secret. He's going to get better coaching right away. If you think we might lose the podcast after me insulting Krzyzewski's coaching. I mean, I might go to prison. I'll get audited. You
mean Mr. Team USA?
Yeah, Coach USA. Yeah, he'll get better coaching in Orlando or wherever he ends up. Right away.
I saw they clinched a playoff berth.
Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah, saw that. All right. 1 second. We'll tell you about Scripted Jewelry, scriptedjewelry.com. Again, you got plenty of time to get that order in for Mother's Day, but hey, go ahead and take care of it. You won't have to worry about it later on. You got weeks, but they take order deadlines up to April 25th. Now accepting Mother's Day orders. When you go to the website, they'll give you some ideas. They'll show you multiple Mother's Day ideas. Things you can put your special message on for the mother in your life. They'll show you recent work. They'll show you handwriting jewelry, gifts, new arrivals, even what people have ordered recently. So tons of options there with Scripted Jewelry, and save some money in the process. REBELS10 in the coupon box and save 10% with scriptedjewelry.com.
The Red Hot Rebel softball team returns to Oxford as they host 4 games this week, starting with UAB on Wednesday at 6 p.m. and then again versus Missouri for a 3-game series beginning Friday at 6 p.m. Admission is free. For more info, visit OleMissSports.com. The Ole Miss women's tennis team host their final regular season weekend matches starting on Friday at 3 p.m. as they take on LSU. Fans will receive free crawfish, and admission is free. The Rebels are back at home again on Sunday for Senior Day versus Texas A&M. The first 100 fans will receive an Ole Miss tennis glass. For more info on these matches, visit OleMissSports.com. The Ole Miss track team will host the Joe Walker Invitational beginning on Friday. It'll conclude on Saturday. Admission is free. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com. And as we mentioned earlier in the show, the Ole Miss baseball team returns to Swayze this weekend as they host the Kentucky Wildcats beginning Friday at 6:30 p.m. General admission tickets are available for purchase. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com. Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with the live person. No 10 buttons to push, no 5-minute wait. OUB offers its customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa, and with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000. And with Kasasa, ATM fees nationwide are refunded. OUB also offers online bill pay and mobile check deposit using its online app. To learn more, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And we're getting closer to the big Blue Delta Jeans 5-year anniversary party on the Square in Oxford. It's on Sunday, April the 28th. You can join the great people of Blue Delta Jeans for music, Bloody Marys, Big Bad Breakfast biscuits, and, of course, blue jeans from 10 to 2. They're going to launch their spring-summer line of denim and Holland and Cherry. And you can take advantage of the opportunity to look at all the different options, different patterns. They've designed designer jeans for Grammy winners, double-decker headliner Jason Isbell, for example, World Series champs, Super Bowl winners, NASCAR drivers, Oscar Award winners, and more. And it's a private event, but you can get in just by being a Oxford Exxon podcast listener. All you have to do is go on social media. If you're on social media, get on Twitter, get on Instagram. Couldn't think of it for a minute. And send them a DM. Just RSVP. Say, give them your name, give them your phone number. Let them know so you can get on the list and be one of the cool kids. If you want to send by email, you can send at info@bluedeltajeans.com. Do the same thing. Send them an email. Tell them you're coming, and you'll be on the list Sunday, April the 28th, on the Square for Blue Delta Jeans' birthday party. Bloody Marys, biscuits, and blue jeans. Hard to beat that.
Ole Miss up to number 10 in the nation per perfect game in the top 25. They jumped 7 spots up to number 11 with D1 baseball. And I had Baseball America a minute ago, and now I don't see it, but whatever. It's fine. 15 in Baseball America as well. So 10, 11, and 15.
It's almost as if the people who vote understand that sometimes baseball happens.
Well, and poll mechanics crack me up in baseball because it's not wrong, but it's just funny. Midweek games completely irrelevant. What you do on the weekend is going to dictate your standing in polls. Ole Miss could have gone 2-2 this week with a loss to UNA and moved up in the polls because they took 2 out of 3 from Florida. Had they done that?
Yeah,
it's just the way it works. So
well, and I just. And I'm while it's fun to make fun of them, and I love to make fun of them, the thing is I kind of think they're basically right because I think generally and you would know better than me, and so if you correct me, I'll say he's right. But I do believe that at the end, what really gets weighed heavily is in college baseball, at least, is where you stand in your league, what your league record is, where your wins came, all of those things. It's certainly a growing sport, but it doesn't have the same analytics and the dynamics of basketball, for example, where a lot of the early season stuff really weighs heavily. Ole Miss didn't get hurt by losing to Louisville. I mean, it would have been nice to win one, of course, but it's not going to kill them. They can erase all the negatives by putting up an 18-12, 19-11 SEC record.
They need 18 SEC wins. They need maybe 17, but maybe 18, and they need an RPI in the top 18 because if you're outside the top 18, they look at you in the SEC and go, well, what's wrong if your RPI is that low?
Right.
What happened?
And then they find the warts, and that's when it comes up.
Yeah, as long as you're in the top 18, you're usually fairly safe if your league record is relatively average from a host standpoint.
Yeah.
Not average, relatively average from a host standpoint. So this game's starting at 8:20 tonight. It's driving me insane, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not watching. I mean, I might watch some of it, but I'm going to watch The Fix at 9 o'clock because it's a good show. And
what's that?
It's the one that's the Marsha Clark produced show.
Oh, that one. Yeah, you told me about that.
Got O.J. Simpson themed. It's good.
Do we need more O.J.?
But it's not about O.J.
Okay.
It's fictional. It's another character.
That is based on OJ?
It appears to be loosely based on OJ, and it's entertaining.
Okay.
I'm entertained, so I'll watch it, and I guess if I look over and that the basketball game is, but the thing is, it won't even be close to over, and I'm not staying up till 11 to hear.
It's going to be 10:45.
I'll be sound asleep.
Yeah, I don't think I care that much.
I know I don't.
I've got a first half in me, probably.
The people that are like, oh, I got to stay up to listen to One Shining Moment. Number one, it'll be on 400 videos tomorrow. And number two, it's overrated.
Well, yes.
It's an overrated song.
But you got to see who Nance is going to give his tie to here later.
I'll find out on Twitter. Some poor kid, Kyle Guy or the cat at Texas Tech or whatever is going to get Jim Nance's tie tonight. Look at it like, thanks.
His mom's going to put it in like one of those memory picture box things at some point.
Yeah.
It's going to be in like the guest bedroom of his house when he's 40. That's what's going to happen. Whatever. Then Nance gets to go to Augusta and do that blowhard thing for a week.
Oh God, he'll do it tonight, and a tradition unlike any other.
Well, that's the Masters.
Because if you don't do that, you don't get to do the broadcast.
Well, and then not my favorite part, it's my least favorite part, sorry, of the Masters is he always comes up with what he thinks is that clever little quip as soon as the winner sinks the winning putt, and you can tell that he wrote them all down on Friday and then just goes to the one that is relevant when Sunday night gets here. That he spent hours to come up with whatever those 4 words is he'll say. At the end, A new star has risen. Patrick Reed wins. Come on, whatever. Give me a break. Masters week. Love it, hate it, everything in between. I can never make my mind up. I love it, but my God, I hate it too.
I like parts of it.
Of course.
I actually like the golf, and on Sunday, there's a decent chance that I will watch more golf on Sunday than I'll watch the rest of the year combined.
And frankly, I like the stuck-up rules because I'm tired of every rule change in life just being the easier and the lazier option. So I like the more stuck-up rules.
And I don't know the rules well enough to even know.
No phones, like cameras, you're there to watch the golf. And I'm guilty of it at times, but we've become so social media obsessed that people in great moments don't actually see the great moment.
No, they're busy filming the moment.
They're too busy to show everyone else they were at the big moment.
Yeah.
It's why, like somebody was talking about this the other day. Somebody paid tons of money for a Patrick Mahomes picture or something. The selfie is the new autograph. Nobody gives a crap about the autograph. Just take a picture with me so I can post it to Facebook.
Yeah, it's true.
So no, I'm fine with the Masters being a bunch of stuck-up old men that make everything complicated. For once, let's not make the new rule change easy and lazy. I'm good with it. Fine. It's annoying, and they love themselves. I mean, it's like they hosted they had the Augusta National Women's Amateur, if I'm getting those words mixed up, whatever. But they let women play golf at Augusta to do what?
The girl from Arkansas lost the final to the girl from...
I think she goes to Wake Forest.
Yeah, Wake Forest, that's right.
Yeah, Jennifer Kupcho. So, the best player in the world won the tournament, so congratulations. But, they do this whole week. Like, even Golf Channel does this live from Augusta National. Well... And they got the headline, they only played 1 round at Augusta National. All of the other rounds of the tournament were somewhere else in the area. So it was like Augusta was able to pull off the, hey, look, we're letting people on. We are trailblazers. But hey, just that one day. Just that one day now. Back up. Not all 3 rounds. You get Saturday. Congratulations.
Yeah. Frankly, it's the part of golf that I think is unappealing to a lot of people.
The best thing Augusta National does is the drive, chip, and putt. The World Championships are at Augusta National every year. It always comes on in the morning, a week before the Masters, and it's a fun event. It's fair. It's all good. You get a bunch of 6 to 12-year-old kids, 14-year-old kids, they get to drive, chip, and putt on Augusta National. It's fantastic. They do a great job. But the other was just kind of blowhardy to me. It was, hey, we're gonna make sure we get all the pub for this, but let's really look at what we're doing here. But whatever. Credit to them, though. I will give them this one thing. Even the girls that missed the cut to get to Augusta, they allowed to play the practice round at Augusta on Friday. So that way, everybody in the field at least got to play on the course.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good move. Had no issue there. But anyway, we'll probably talk about the Masters a little as the week moves along, heading into Thursday for that, when everybody complains about the lack of TV coverage and all that stuff because Augusta National runs the event. So anyway, we'll have more.
Let me touch on this quickly, and I'll post about it in a minute. But in case people, because I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and I'm afraid if I don't touch on it, then we're going to get complaints.
Okay.
Jamin Brakefield elected not to reclassify. It means he's basically going to play his senior season as originally scheduled. It is not the end of the world, but the people who are acting like it's not bad news, it is bad news. It's not dooming news. It just means that Ole Miss is going to have to really work hard to stay in the mix for him. He was in the NY to LA event this weekend and was one of the stars. So his stock is going to explode. There's just nothing about his game to dislike. Ole Miss is still going to recruit him. Ole Miss is still in it, but they were certainly hoping that he would reclassify.
We'll continue to follow his recruitment as it plays out. Sounds like it could have a little bit to go with that. So, again, more podcasts throughout the week. Plenty of coverage at rebelgrove.com from all different sports. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow.